Objectives. After listening to this lecture, you'll be able to identify health and behavioral problems that are associated with a poor diet, and you'll identify eating behaviors of young people in the United States. Nutrition. You've probably all heard the saying, you are what you eat. Is that really true? Actually, it's very true. Cardiovascular disease, colon cancer, stroke, obesity, and birth defects are just a few examples of the many diseases and health problems that are directly associated with a poor diet. 1 in 3 children born in 2000 risk becoming diabetic unless people start eating less and exercising more. Most health problems are multifactorial, meaning that there's usually many reasons why we get sick. Heredity, sleep deprivation, stress, poor physical fitness levels, and so forth. But our nutritional habits can have a huge impact on whether or not we develop certain diseases. It's never too late to develop healthy eating habits, but it is true that children who have eaten a healthy diet into adulthood are that much better equipped to ward off diet-related problems. Eating and physical activity patterns are critical aspects of health and well-being, and not only contribute to a young person's current health, but also their future health as an adult. Healthy eating patterns and regular physical activity promote optimal health, growth, and development in childhood and adolescence and reduce the risk for chronic disease in adulthood. The eating and physical activity patterns established in youth often extend into adulthood. Health problems and diet. It's only children in developing countries that have nutritional deficiencies, right? Wrong. For example, what percent of American kids aren't getting enough vitamin D? According to 2 studies published in the Journal of Pediatrics, a whopping 70%. What's wrong with not having enough vitamin D? Well, these studies showed that children who were deficient in vitamin D tended to have higher blood pressure and lower levels of HDL or good cholesterol than their peers. So low vitamin D levels also may increase a child's risk of developing heart disease later in life. Dr. Michael Melamede at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York said, "There's a lot of data that suggests adults with low vitamin D levels are at risk for diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and a lot of cancers. And if kids start out with low levels and never increase them, they may be putting themselves at risk for developing all of these diseases at a much earlier age." Children with low vitamin D levels also had higher levels of parathyroid hormone than their counterparts with adequate vitamin D in their blood. Parathyroid hormone is a measure of bone health. When levels are high, it suggests that bones need more calcium to grow, so high levels of this hormone is not good. Behavioral problems and diet. So proper nutrition is associated with health problems, no doubt about it. But what about behavioral problems? A study in the American Journal of Psychiatry shows that children who experience malnutrition exhibit increased behavioral disorders and aggressive behavior as they grow older. The study looked at children between the ages of 8 and 17 years and found some rather shocking statistics about their behaviors. Children who suffered certain nutritional deficiencies demonstrated a 41% increase in aggression at age 8. At age 17, they demonstrated a 51% increase in violent and antisocial behaviors. And the only difference the researchers were able to find between them and their non-aggressive counterparts is their diet. It's all about the foods they were eating and the nutrients they were missing. What specific nutrients were missing from their diets? 4 primary nutrients were tied to the study: zinc, iron, B vitamins, and protein. Malnourished children weren't getting crucial minerals like zinc and iron, and they weren't getting the B vitamins they needed to develop healthy nervous systems. And a healthy nervous system is a prerequisite for mental and emotional health and stability. Why are they missing these nutrients? Well, it's thought that the 2 most common ingredients in most of our foods seem to be white flour and sugar. It's hard to find any product in the grocery store, it seems, that isn't made with flour or some form of added sugars, whether it's sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, or just plain sugar. These 2 ingredients are both highly refined ingredients, and They tend to strip away nutrients from our bodies. For example, when a person eats a donut, that donut contains both white flour and added sugars, which deplete the body of B vitamins, causing deficiencies. And it is these deficiencies that lead to antisocial behavior, aggressive behavior, and ultimately criminal behavior, especially among males. Another dietary factor in behavioral disorders is a lack of quality protein. People aren't getting high quality protein because they think the only place to get protein is from beef and red meat, when in fact, superfoods like spirulina offer much higher quality protein. Soy and rice proteins are also much higher quality proteins. In fact, there are many plant proteins that are actually healthier proteins for human beings, but are not being adequately consumed by the American population. People tend to turn to meat and milk, which are the worst sources of protein according to many nutrition experts. Eating behaviors of young people. Most U.S. youth do not meet the recommendations for eating 2.5 cups to 6.5 cups of fruits and vegetables each day. Most U.S. youth do not eat the minimum recommended amounts of whole grains, 2 to 3 ounces each day. Most U.S. youth eat more than the recommended maximum daily intake of sodium, 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams each day. Most U.S. youth eat empty calories from added sugars and solid fats. Emotional health and food. Our diet affects not only our physical health, but our emotional health as well. Did you know that it's easier to concentrate when you've eaten a high-protein meal instead of a high-carbohydrate meal? Do you feel more irritable when you haven't eaten and you're really hungry? Do you notice that your energy levels are depleted much faster when you eat a diet high in simple carbohydrates? The types of food we eat, or whether or not we eat, definitely affects our emotional states. Key points. Eating and physical activity patterns are critical aspects of health and well-being, and not only contribute to a young person's current health, but also their future health as an adult. We have a serious problem in this country, one of the richest countries in the world, with poor nutrition. Lack of vitamin D and lack of quality protein are among many problems. They're not just health problems, but also behavioral problems associated with a poor diet. And that's it for this lecture.